Well, you'll recall last February, a train derailed in the town of East Palestine, Ohio, spilling toxic chemicals. Residents remain fearful of the air they breathe and the water they drink. The cleanup could take many more months. So some locals are now taking action to calm fears, including an unusual matchup between a pastor and a plumber. CBN's Brody Carter reports from Ground Zero.
This is a heavy-duty gas mask. We brought it just for safety. On the other side of this building are the train tracks. That's where they're digging up the soil, and you can really smell a burning rubber, a chlorine scent that's in the air. Over here, families forced to endure that smell, and it's ridiculous to think that they'd have to wear a gas mask just to protect their families. What do you smell?
To me, it smells like kind of like a burning plastic.
Smelling odors doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have health effects.
Health concerns, how, are we safe? We don't know.
As you can imagine, talk around East Palestine, Ohio remains centered on February's derailment and chemical spill.
We're estimating somewhere between 60 and 100,000 tons of contaminated material are going to come out of that area. So it's significant.
You could just see the flames. They were higher than the house when they evacuated us.
About half of the town's 5,000 residents evacuated after the accident due to a catastrophic failure in the train car's overheated wheel bearing.
And so really this is kind of a miracle that it happened where it did.
Concerns remain centered around the safety of drinking water, air quality, and contaminated soil. The fear of the unknown, however, could be the biggest worry here in East Palestine.
I look at my son and his wife who just bought their house and are raising the grandchildren, and I just wonder, is this a good place for them to raise them now?
Those who want to leave can't, because trying to sell a home or business has become so difficult.
We've been here 17 years.
Dwayne Doyle, owner of Doyle's Fresh Meat and Deli, knows the frustration all too well. He had planned to sell the shop and retire with his wife. Then the unexpected happened.
They were just afraid of the unknown, and so they decided not to do it.
This is as close as we can get to the actual train derailment. You can see behind me more than 2 months later, Norfolk Southern and the EPA working together to clean the ground soil next to the train tracks. Locals tell me if this would have happened any closer to the town center, it would have been much more devastating.
By the grace of God that nobody was killed or hurt, and I hope that in the long run, it works out for the town.
Only now it's a waiting game to measure the long-term impact of dangerous chemicals left behind in the air, water, and soil.
There was over 900,000 pounds of vinyl chloride in this rock. It's our job to make sure that anything that may be left behind are not at levels that could ever be a health concern to residents or to the ecology in the area.
The EPA will be on site for months, helping clean and monitor toxins, while shipping contaminated soil and water to deep well injection sites.
We inject the contaminants several miles into the earth that will never be accessed again by human hands.
Just want my kid to be able to drink out of the hose one day.
Folks like Zachary Schultz are looking for long-term solutions for the people who live here.
This covers your whole house. We just don't have the research to be able to tell you that it's at a safe level to drink it.
Schultz is working with a nearby church to use an anonymous donation from Texas to buy and install roughly 70 carbon water filtration systems for homes in the affected area.
We saw this as an open door for God to do something and for us to tangibly love those people that are around us.
Yeah, we don't drink a whole lot from the faucet directly.
Sue and Randy Dunlap are one of the families getting a filter. While there's no guarantee it can remove all contamination, they hope some protection is better than nothing.
You don't know what you don't know. You just got to make a choice and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
For some, this has become a crisis of uncertainty due to the long-term impact of the derailment and spill. Pastor Saveco, though, sees a resilient community leaning on their faith that God will heal their land. As East Palestine residents look toward the future, he seeks to reassure them that God is their refuge and strength, ever present in times of trouble.
Houses can be replaced, jobs can be replaced, but people, family, relationships can't. And through all of this, there hasn't been one loss of life. And so that's just incredible in and of itself. So I think that's a focal point where people are readjusting their values.
Reporting in East Palestine, Ohio, Brody Carter, CBN News.
Thank you, Brody. We do appreciate your reporting. It's so important to remember the families and citizens in that community still struggling with this. I remember going to 9/11 to report in 2001. It was 3 to 4 weeks after the towers fell, and the aroma, the smells, the pollutants were still so evident just walking the streets, and I can imagine in that small community what it's like. So also, it's great to see the church being the church, this anonymous gift by this donor or whoever this organization is, in providing ways for people to cope and try and live healthy lives. So let's not forget the people